Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from MRC Newsbusters, America's media watchdog, dated August 24th. And it says fact checkers, it's in quotes, as it should be, wrongly claim Democrats aren't extremely pro abortion up until birth. And here's this guy is Glenn Kessler of the Washington Post, and he is simply like all these fact checkers, just a regime propagandist. So it's anything the right says, he's automatically going to come out and just be contrarian to that, say, no, that's not a thing. And it turns out that, oh, wait, it actually is. So let's get into this article. It says a big moment in the debate discussion on Twitter on Wednesday night. So this is from the Republican debates that they had, was that MSNBC host Jen Psaki trying to rebut Ron DeSantis and other Republicans. She said no one supports abortion up until birth. And I saw that on Twitter, and she was immediately hit with basically she herself saying that they are, along with many other Democrats saying the same thing. So nice try, Jen. Nobody believes your bullshit. So it says that's simply obviously false if you listen to Democrat politicians or read the 2020 Democratic platform. The party seeks to codify an end to all state restrictions on abortion. Yes, so guess what that means, fact checkers? That means that they do support that. How about that? It says, but the independent fact checkers, again in quotes, have repeatedly and furiously spun in favor of Democrats by claiming Republicans are false for saying Democrats support abortion up until birth. They did it again after this first Republican presidential debate of the 2024 cycle. Washington Post fact checker Glenn Kessler, again, this dude right here, did the usual pro DNC tap dance. And what he said was, and this is a common Republican talking point, that Democrats support nationwide abortion on demand up until the moment of birth. The implication is that late term abortions are common and that they are routinely accepted by Democrats. The reality, according to federal and state data, is that abortions past the point of viability are extremely rare. When they do happen, they often involve painful, emotional, and even moral decisions. So the article says that this is like saying execution by guillotine is extremely rare. So if you support it, you don't really support it. Yeah, no kidding there. It says factcheck.org also picked up this spin. So don't trust them. It says making this their first bullet point of false claims. And I love all these sites like Snopes and now factcheck.org that are also claim to be fact checkers that just can't seem to get the facts straight. Wonder why that is. So what factcheck.org said is that several candidates claim that Democrats support allowing abortions up to the moment of birth, but what Democrats support is an exception for bans on abortion after fetal viability if the mother's health is at risk. And then this came later. It says DeSantis, Scott, and Hutchinson all misleadingly claim that Democrats support allowing abortions all the way up until the moment of birth, as DeSantis put it. We'll start with the first claim. As we've explained before, and here's a link to their site, which I'm sure is just propaganda, as it happens to be showing here. It says Democrats in Congress support legislation that would bar states from prohibiting abortion after a fetus is viable outside the womb in cases where the patient's life or health is at risk. Republicans object to the health exception, claiming the bill would allow abortion on demand at any point in a pregnancy. It says then they turned to pro-abortion extremist Mary Ziegler as their expert. So yeah, so what they're doing is that for their fact check, they'll automatically go to someone that supports their position right off the bat anyway. So it's like, well, it's kind of almost feels to me like so the police are investigating the police and determine the police didn't do anything wrong, sort of situation. Like, okay. So it says Mary Zingler, a professor of law at the University of California, Davis, and the author of 6 books on the abortion debate and the law, told us that Republicans view those health exceptions as sort of like a blanket permission to have an abortion whenever you want. And Democrats say an exception for life or health. And I know that's wrong. So it says, but this is the actual 2020 Democrat platform language. Read it. It says there are no exceptions and they seek taxpayer funded abortions that's prevented by the Hyde Amendment. And that is okay. I just wanted to check. This is gonna be the last part article. So basically, here's what refutes everything that Jen Psaki said and what the Democrats are saying. Here's from the actual 2020 Democrat platform. It says securing reproductive health, rights, and justice. So Democrats are committed to protecting and advancing reproductive health, rights, and justice. We believe unequivocally, like the majority of Americans, that every woman should be able to access high quality reproductive health care services, including safe and legal abortion. We will repeal the Title 10 domestic gag rule and restore federal funding for Planned Parenthood, which should be revoked, which provides vital preventive and reproductive health care for millions of people, especially low income people and people of color and LGBTQ people, including in underserved areas. Why do LGBTQ people need abortions? Kind of hard. A dude and a dude aren't having a kid and a woman and a woman aren't. I know there's the in vitro stuff. I'm being facetious intentionally, but still, it's like you don't really need to put that there because okay. There's an old George Carlin joke it made me think of too, like who has less abortions than homosexuals. So it's something to that effect. Go look it up. He's George Carlin. It's funny. Um, and so, it says Democrats oppose and will fight to overturn federal and state laws that create barriers to reproductive health and rights. Yes, this means you want it with no exceptions, right there. It says we will repeal the Hyde Amendment and protect and codify the right to reproductive freedom. We condemn acts of violence, harassment, and intimidation on reproductive health care providers, patients, and staff. Well, what about the people that are at the pregnancy care centers? You guys seem to be totally fine with that, and well, they're basically doing this same thing. But the thing is, this is their soft language that they use to try to show that something that is really bad is actually, oh, it's not so bad after all. It's kind of cutesy. Okay, is what they call abortion reproductive health. It says we will address the discrimination and barriers that inhibit meaningful access to reproductive health care services, including those based on gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, race, income, disability, geography, and other factors. Democrats oppose restrictions on medication abortion care that are inconsistent with the most recent medical and scientific evidence and that do not protect public health. So, like I said before, that's the end of the article, but I just find it really interesting that, like, again, the left is just being contrarian on this. The right comes out and says, "Oh, here's this thing that Democrats are actually trying to do. Here's the actual proof of it," and the left is like, "Oh no, that's not really happening." I guarantee you, if the platform of the people during the Republican debate was uh, they were pro-abortion, the left would come out and be like, "Wait, like they shouldn't be say like they'd say the opposite of that. They'd be like, wait, they shouldn't be doing like they would just say the opposite thing. They'd be like, we're gonna fact check, we're gonna suddenly be pro-life. So yeah, I find these fact checkers just utterly useless because they only seem to fact check when it's convenient for them. And they're almost never actually right about this. And notice that all the fact checkers seem to be on the left side of the political spectrum. Ask yourself why that is. I'll leave it there for today. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.